afternoon, everybody. I'm just doing the housekeeping, and then David Purdy will introduce Professor Gillian Dooley and Judith. It's Judith Gore. Do beg your pardon. So the usual housekeeping items, the Fs, the phones could be off, beginning with F. Forward events this afternoon, the Film Appreciation Society is Gilbert and Sullivan through film and television with David Lyle and James Baer. And next week is the last of our Saturday talks for the season, and it's Ian Gardner doing Thomas Cochrane, Warrior, Sailor, Extraordinary and Local Hero. And then that's us until September. But can everybody please look at the Club Fest? Because there are so many lovely events on in that, and we are trying to sell as many tickets as we can. So if everybody could have a little look at that this afternoon as well. Food. There's a charcuterie and salads or quiche for vegetarians. So can I just ask for hands up for the vegetarian selection? And two. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and what's it?
How many is that?
5.
5. Okay.
And with that, I shall hand you over to Professor Purdy.
Madam President, fellow members of the Scottish Arts Club, distinguished guests, it's a particular pleasure to introduce Professor Gillian Dooley to you with her accompanist, Judith Gore here, of whom more a little later. But in particular to introduce this concept of association between the club and IASH. Now, IASH is the Institute for Advanced Studies in the Humanities of the University of Edinburgh, of which Gillian is a visiting fellow and of which your humble servant is an honorary fellow. IASH brings together the disciplines of philosophy, literature, history, and the classics. We are usually between 25 and 30 scholars at IASH, which is located down on the meadows next to the university main library. We are half British, and the rest of us are from all over the world, including today from South Australia. It is a remarkable institute, partnered only, I think, in this country by All Souls College at Oxford, in the sense that we are all postgraduate. We have no students, we do no teaching, we do no administration, we do nothing except work and publish. That is the collaboration inaugurated today, whereby fellows of IASH may use this club on production of their university ID card for morning coffee, for example, if they're in town. And in partnership, the other way around, 3 or 4 of the fellows during the academic year will come here and give talks or concerts on our Saturday morning 12 o'clock session, so much part of the life of this club. And so Gillian Dooley, we welcomed just a few days ago to us in Edinburgh at IASH, coming from the University of Flinders University in South Australia, where she is a senior research fellow. We are in the presence of a very considerable literary scholar here. Gillian is the author of books on some of the most distinguished writers of the 18th, 19th, and 20th century, such as J.M. Coetzee, V.S. Naipaul, Iris Murdoch, perhaps our greatest novelist of the 20th century. And she also has a double string to her bow. Like many of the IASH fellows, we have 2 strands of academic activity. Gillian's, of course, is English literature, but also she is an author on the subject of the man who gave his name to her university. Matthew Flinders shares the podium of South Sea exploration with Captain Cook, with James Cook, who was Scottish, by the way. People tend to forget that. Flinders was, we remember now. But Flinders was an Englishman and was the remarkable navigator of these southern waters, in the sense that he was the first marine explorer and cartographer to discover the fact that Australia was not just an island, but a continent as well. A remarkable man, and his history is well worth reading about. And in fact, one of Gillian's books is on Matthew Flinders, the man behind the map of course being that of Australia. In addition to her books on literary subjects, Gillian is also the editor of several journals involved with English literature, and she serves her home state also as president of the South Australia Library Committee, and also she serves as the honorary librarian of the Royal Society of South Australia. A great pleasure to have her with us. And also Judith Gore here, her partner in this morning's presentation. Judith is a graduate of the University of London in music and is a member of the Royal Society of Musicians. She was given a nod of approval to our piano, I'm delighted to hear. Do come in.
No, I'm still seated in front, sorry. Don't remember.
Welcome back, Madam Doorkeeper. And so, a great pleasure to introduce both of these ladies to entertain us and to bring us together with this remarkable lady from England. The subject of today's discussion is, of course, Jane Austen, who many of us who are interested in literature know simply as an English lady of the upper middle classes who wrote 6 remarkable novels, 4 published in her lifetime and 2 posthumously, which have never been out of print and who is part of the eternal cadence of English literature. I didn't know until I read the synopsis from Gillian that how musical she was. And in fact, there's to be a book published by Gillian next year called She Played and Sang, the story of the musical accomplishments and activities of the remarkable Jane Austen. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam President, Gillian Dooley and Judith Gore.
Well, thank you so much, David. That's for that very, very flattering introduction. And thank you all for coming. How wonderful to have a whole room full of people. Was anyone at my talk on Thursday at IASH? Was anyone? Oh, my dear friend Neil were. But so I was sort of thinking that this talk sort of kind of this concert complements my talk, which I gave at IASH, which was about the Scottish, Irish, and English music in Jane Austen's music collection, and putting it in context. So Jane Austen's, as She Played and Sang, that's the name of my book, which is available now available to pre-order on the Manchester University Press website. It'll be out in March next year. But the thing is that we know that she played and sang partly because her niece Caroline wrote about the fact, remembered that, and others of her family remember her singing. But it was very much within the family, though. She wasn't she couldn't be induced to play in company, according to Caroline, her niece. But they do remember, the nieces and nephews do remember her playing the piano and singing when they were small, when they were young. And her music collection, the collection of sheet music that she owned, is still has been passed down through the family and is now available for study. It's been digitised. So that's what I'm working on here. What I'm bringing together, and it's not just actually her music. About half of it is music that was in her. She copied into her manuscript books, or she collected as print music and then had bound together. But there's also music from other people in the family, from her teacher Anne Corley, from her sister-in-law Eliza de Feuilly, who married the French count, she was her cousin and later became her sister-in-law when she married Henry Austen. Her other sister-in-law Elizabeth Austen, who married Edward, and several of their children. There are music books from all those people as part of this larger collection. So it shows the network of music within this family, and you know, the sort of music that they played. We don't know if it's a complete, we think it's probably not the complete collection, of course. These things go missing. In fact, I think there's something that's just turned up that has been sort of, was borrowed by someone for, you know, 20 or 30 years and has just been rediscovered and given back to Chawton House. So, which I'll hope to have a look at when I'm down there in a couple of weeks. Anyway, so I'm going to, I've given sort of the sort of basic factual information on these sheets that I've handed out. I might say a little bit about something, you know, to put more context as we go through. But let's get going and hear Scotch air from Thomas and Sally.
I laid a herring in salt, Leskin ye know me, tell me do. I had brewed a fortnight and bolt, and I cannot come milk a day woo. I had a calf was soon here cool, Leskin ye know me, tell me no. I had a pig will soon be a sou, and I cannot come milk a day woo. I've a house on yonder moor, Leskin ye know me, tell me no. Then 3 sparrows may dance upon the floor, and I cannot come milk a day woo. I hae a butt and I hae a bin, Leskin ye know me, tell me no. I hae 3 chickens and a fat hen, and I cannot come milk a day woo. I've I've a hen will happy leg, less can you know me, tell me no, which you could eat, and I cannot come any better. I have come upon my shelf, less can you know me, tell me no. I don't eat it all myself, and I will come any mere
one was Queen Mary's Lament, being, of course, Mary Queen of Scots, and Jane was quite well known as had to have Jacobite sympathies. She, I don't know if you've ever read her History of England. If you haven't, you should, because we'll learn a lot about the history of England. But it's very satirical. She wrote it when she was about 14. But the history of England, the bit about Elizabeth, it's done by kings and queens, So the bit about Elizabeth is a really it's a very polemical and rhetorical attack on Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, and in favour of Queen Mary, and that song seems to. The fact that she had that song in her early manuscript book seems to sort of reinforce her support of Queen Mary. Now, I must say to you that a lot of these songs, or just about every one of these songs, I only know through Jane Austen's music books. And I'm sure within the room there's all sorts of knowledge of Scottish music If anyone has any sort of clues about the melodies or the words that you want to come and talk to me about afterwards, I would love to talk to you about it, because there's quite a lot of mysteries among this music, and probably saving best till last. We'll talk about that later. But now Judith is going to play one of the billions, probably billions, possibly billions, of variations on Scotch airs that were done in the 18th and early 19th centuries. And this one's by Domenico Corri, and it's variations on My Ain Kind Dearie.